A few minutes, a few seconds early here. It's okay. Okay, let's see. Did we go live? Yeah, we're live here. Okay, guys, we are live here on the internet, in the studio, if you will, with the drummer, composer, percussionist, Florian Arbenz, all the way from Switzerland. Welcome, Florian. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Greg. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this chat.
You're welcome.
Very nice.
You're welcome. Good to see you. For those just joining us, we have one of his new tracks playing here. I don't want to use this as background music, though, so I'm not going to let this play for too long. We can jump back to it if we want to highlight it a little bit when we get to that record. But you guys, he has all these great clips on his YouTube channel. We'll explain that a little more later, but let's turn that off and not give more respect to the music by not calling it background music. Is one of my things. People take jazz and think it's background music. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Oh.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Newcomers to jazz. Oh, it's great dinner music. Well, yeah, it could be, but it's also great listening and playing music.
Mm-hmm.
So Florian is like I say, composer, percussionist, drummer, very well known in Europe, and is in the midst of a very ambitious record release project called Conversations. And those are duets, trios, conversations, collaborations with a bunch of musicians. The concept is each record is a different conversation with another musician or group of musicians. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the sort of background of how this came about and where this project is and so forth?
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. I started the project in the beginning of COVID when everything was shut down. I just recognized that I always can invite people to Switzerland, but so I just changed the whole concept. Instead of touring and meeting all the people on the road and playing gigs worldwide, I just invited musicians which I really admire and love to Switzerland, and that's how I started the project. And a friend of mine who is a graphic designer suggested me this concept of the 12 conversation recordings with a different lineup. So that's how I started it.
So is that graphic artist the person responsible for the look of all of these?
Yeah,
these have
right.
A very consistent and interesting look. And we'll show more.
Right.
Am I upside down here?
Mm-hmm.
So this one is, we'll get to this one later, but just to highlight, and I've got a couple of records behind me for you folks watching at home, but he combines some really interesting graphical elements with more organic elements. What's this gentleman's name? The graphic person?
He's called Gabriel Heuberger. Yeah, he is a Swiss cat.
Another Swiss name I can't pronounce, but
yeah.
I like the consistent look you've got through this whole series. You've got this very organic, natural outside. I don't know what you call that. They're not glossy. They're very.
Yeah, it's like they call it inside out, so they turn it around.
They're shiny on the inside,
yeah, right,
which protects your record, and it's got a nice organic texture on the outside. But there's a nice graphic theme throughout. You can see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a really
Yes, and you've got some of that on the record labels also, which is kind of cool. So we'll get into each record one at a time real quick. But to me, the idea of conversations, these are not people that you've been necessarily playing with forever and ever. These are people that you are sort of new to collaboration with you. Is that correct? In other words, you invited them to just do this project?
Part-time. I try to, of course, involve the musicians I already love and admire and I'm already collaborating with, but I try with each project kind of unusual combinations. And I always try also to combine musicians which don't necessarily know each other before, so that it's really kind of a meeting and something spontaneous about the whole thing.
And that's what I think is great about this project. The whole concept of conversations goes back. Old timers know that, let's say Bill Evans' Village Vanguard. This idea that you musicians are talking to each other, and it's not drummers playing backup to this other person who's the star. It's really collaborative, democratic. We're all participating in a conversation in real-time improvisation, and I think that's what's a fantastic element going on throughout this whole thing. And these are all recorded in your own studio? You have a studio in your home or somewhere in near your home?
No, it's in a carpentry in the basement, but they leave me making noise there. So I installed some lamps and I made it better acoustically, and I always record there. I have a nice piano there, so it's really comfortable.
Yeah, all the videos show that you have a nice space there. So let's talk about them one at a time. Number one, is one of these behind me number one? I think it's the V.
Yeah, it's the C, right? Yeah.
This is number one.
No, that's number four.
Number four.
Yeah, that's the number one.
Oh, you said C, the big letter C.
Yeah, right.
Conversation. Does the C stand for conversation?
Yeah, right. It's at the end. It's all the letters. One letter for each.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where the 12 came from.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Now that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Americans think this is Pac-Man. Video game.
I heard about that before.
I just thought of that just now. Today was the first time I thought it looked like a C.
Okay.
So no, I just thought it was a nice graphic design.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but actually it's a C. That's right.
Okay, now this makes sense. Now, when you collect all 12, you can lay them out in your room and it'll say conversation. So that's a great, more good marketing from your site. So conversation number one, Herman Mehari on trumpet. You can see him featured back there.
Mm-hmm.
And Nelson Veras, guitar player. He's he was discovered as a young kid, I understand. Do you know that story?
Nelson they're both very special guys, and they both live in Paris, luckily, which in this time of the lockdown is kind of close to where I live. It's 3 hours of the train, so that was kind of possible to realize. But Nelson Veras, he's a Brazilian guitar player, and he's
Nelson Veras.
Yeah, but he toured a lot with like Lee Konitz. He toured with Steve Kalman, so he is kind of a really known name in the scene.
Steve Kalman, wow.
Yeah.
It seems like he's about 20 or 30 years younger than Steve Kalman.
Yeah.
I read something about him being discovered by Pat Metheny as a 14-year-old, but I don't know how long ago that was.
Yeah, that was. He's 40 something right now.
Oh, he's an old timer now, like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks young.
Well, since I hadn't heard of him. Yeah, so there's some nice playing on here. And so I like that you mix up originals and also some classic jazz standards on here.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, Mr. Feldman. I guess that's Victor Feldman you're talking about there.
No, actually, it's Morten Feldman. It's a classical composer, which
I know. I'm familiar with him.
So, yeah.
I'm familiar with him, too.
For
a minute, I thought it was the producer Zev Feldman who I've interviewed, but it's not him. He's too new.
No, this time not. Yeah.
Morten Feldman. Okay, he's more of a modernist 20th century.
Right.
So that's, and I've got an Ornette Coleman tune. Freedom Jazz Dance, I think you've recorded a couple of times.
That's right. This is the key tune of the whole series. So I tried to make a different version on any of all the vinyls. So it will be 12 different versions at the end.
Oh, so I did notice. I thought, okay, Didn't I see it? Which album was it on? Oh, it's on that one? No, it's on both
Yeah,
of them.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
guess it's going to be on all of them. That's cool. This is an amazing song, and Eddie Harris really isn't that well known as a big composer. I mean, didn't he sing and play saxophone? Or am I thinking of the wrong guy?
No. He was
Is
a
he
sax player. Yeah.
right? But I thought he sang on one or two of his tunes. So,
Maybe. Yes. Maybe. Yeah.
but he's not that well known as a big composer, and this is like the standout song for him. And first time I heard it, I thought, oh, it's probably a Monk song because it's that sort of level of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to say about that song as the choice for tying this whole thing together? What does that song do for you or mean to you?
Yeah, it's now my question. You want to hear the truth or you want to hear a good story?
Well, we could do both.
Both versions.
Make the bad one short and the good one.
I mean, actually, when I was beginning this series, it was very clear for me that I will do one recording with Kirk Lightsey. And actually, I always played this tune. I used to play a lot with Kirk Lightsey when in my 20s, and we always played this song. So it was just obvious that with him, this song would work perfectly. So that's actually how I came about this song. And then thinking about the openness and the melody, which is so strong that you can put it in so many different contexts, and it's always working. Encouraged me to finally choose this song. So,
yeah, for those who don't know, it is really a hard to explain, but it's a complex melody, but to throw in freedom and jazz and dancing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's a great combination of things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I didn't realize Eddie Harris died quite a while ago, 25 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So chances are you didn't get to meet him or work with him.
No, I mean, no, different generation. Yeah.
Right. So then you've got some originals on here, and a lot of these songs are very free. And how much is part of this record purely improvised versus all compositional, or do you have free jazz more in the other records?
Yeah, what I always try to do with these musicians I invite is kind of create different musical rooms and different kind of environments to inspire them, but also to challenge them. So on this record, some of the tunes, there is one or two tunes which are completely like tunes, and there are other tunes which are completely free. So it's more the thing that I try to, especially with only drums, guitar, and trumpet, I thought I have to have a lot of different angles to watch this kind of combination, so that the music won't get boring at the end. So that's my main.
Definitely not boring, but it's a part of this project is you're cranking out a lot of music, and it's not like you spent a year putting this record together and then touring to support it and all that. These are like little snapshots of a couple days in your meeting with these people. It's the conversation,
right? The concept is very open, so it's really 2 hours rehearsal and 1 day recording, and that's it. So that's part of the deal. We just, the music has to be so open that we can handle it with 2 hours of rehearsal. So,
and that's what I think is great about especially the jazz form. You get talented people together, and they can make good music without 6 months of preparation. Because there's a lifetime of preparation, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's those musicians that are really of the highest level. So with them, it's really possible to do that. It's not possible to do with everybody. But I mean, like Nelson and Herman, they're outstanding musicians, really. So.
Yeah, I want to learn more about a lot of these collaborators, and that's another great thing about this is you're turning us on to new players that we haven't heard of before. So I just figured out what's going on here. The trick you're playing on me, which is number 2, is back to back with number 3.
Yeah, if you open it up, you have to open it up. So, and then you have to reverse it, and you have the O at the end.
Right.
So now when you reverse it, it's the O, and if you open it up again, it's the O at the end. That's right.
Okay, we'll lay them out later. But I was looking around going, where's number 2? Where's number 2? I had number 2 the whole time. This is the O in number 2. So let's move on and get through all the records before we run out of internet here. So number 2, Oracle, and that is the one with the percussionist. Jim Hart. Yeah, I listened to some of this one today, and so this is unusual because it's just 2 percussionists. But he does play vibes too, so you have some chording and some melody. But tell us a little bit about what we need to know about Jim Hart.
I mean,
if anything,
Jim Hart, he is a wizard. I mean, it's a very special combination we have because Jim is also a great drummer and he is an amazing vibraphone and a marimbaphone player. And I used to have a classical education, so I used to play vibraphone and marimbaphone too, but the classical music, I didn't improvise on those instruments. But it's kind of unusual that Jim is a great drummer and I play the drums and I also know about the vibraphone and the marimbaphone. So it was kind of a family meeting. And we just tried to create something a little different.
Let me show you guys something, by the way.
Yeah.
Beautiful red translucent vinyl. Is this all of the pressings are like this, or is this a special? In other words, number 2 is all red. Everyone who has the number 2 has got the red vinyl.
Right.
And again, the beautiful graphic design on the label there, the geometric circle motif for the 0, not the 0, the O, letter O. Yeah, very nice packaging, very nice design. So I listened to this one just this morning. I've listened to them off and on for months, but I need to prepare, of course, and it benefits to have a good system on this kind of thing because it's very open, the percussion, the ambience, the spatiality, for those that like audio as well as just the music. It looks like it sounds like you've got very good sound quality on all of these.
Yes, it's one of my goals besides the great music to have great sound quality and great graphics. So that's kind of the
whole package.
Yeah.
Now all you need is great sales of all these records. Complete the whole circle.
You will help me with that.
We're trying. There's a controversy going on in the vinyl community. See, a lot of my people are vinyl fans, and some of them are jazz fans, and some of it is overlap. There's a whole controversy right now. I don't know if you know what I'm going to mention here, but the recording process, this sounds great to me, and some people are going to say, well, if it's vinyl, it has to be analog. I'm sure this probably wasn't analog because that's very cost-effective these days, right? So you have
it's actually a combination. I mean, the sound engineer Hannes, he uses to record. He uses a digital kind of program, but like the tools he uses and the effects and the reverb and whatever he puts on, it's all analog. So it's kind of taking the advantage of the digital world to be able to edit in a proper way, which is sometimes necessary when you just put stuff together just in one day. So sometimes you have a great beginning of the version of the first take and then a great ending of the second take. So it's really possible to have a decent editing.
Well, the sound quality
all like the sound and everything is out.
The sound quality is very nice. But you are releasing this on vinyl and CD and digital download?
Yeah, right. I release it over Bandcamp. So there is, if you buy the vinyl or the CD, you have a digital access to the app. Yes. I think that's a smart idea because sometimes you are in the car or on your way or not at home, and then you still can listen to the music. And then
I do both. I do downloads. I listen to CDs in my car. I've got vinyl, 4,000 vinyl records, too many, and
crazy,
and Apple Tunes, hearing new music. So that's 2. We'll move on to 3 simply by flipping over.
Yeah.
And that's a very conceptual N. It took me a while to see these
Yeah,
little
right.
N. It's a bit, there's an
right.
N in there. There's an N in there, but very organic sort of paintbrush work. And so number 3 takes us to who? Who's on number 3?
I mean, it's the same, me and Jim, but we add a bass player.
Okay.
Yeah. So we play that in trio.
And what's his name?
Harry Kanzik. He's a Swiss, one of the main bass players in Switzerland. Yeah.
Well, you've got a monk tune on here, epistrophe, and lots of originals by you guys. Okay, so 2 and 3 are related because it's kind of the same musicians, but you added on the bass player. And were these recorded sequentially? 2 was done before you started 3?
Yeah, we recorded one day 2 and the next day the 3, right? Yeah.
And there aren't too many takes on these, probably only 1 or 2 or 3 takes before you.
Yes, this was really just the beginning of the lockdown, and everybody was kind of bored and empty. So we just enjoyed it so much to put again and make music together.
Well, that's great.
We felt on this recording.
Spontaneous live feel. That's what I like about this. It's everything's very original live sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 3. I think 4 is the last one I have here in my collection. Oh, let's see. 4 Conversations with a V.
Right.
Okay. But okay, because there's another musician with a V in it. That's what I thought, but he's not on here. Vulcanized.
Right.
Which is a very interesting word. Does that word have any special meaning towards what's going on here? Vulcanized.
I mean, I just thought because Michel, the Cuban sax player, he is very elegant and virtuous playing, and especially François Moutin, who lives in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is an animal on the bass. So it just reminded me of a volcano, and that's how I
I guess the word vulcanized comes from volcano.
Yeah, right.
Which I think of vulcanized rubber, which no one wants to hear about.
I think there is kind of a right.
Vulcanized means you take the raw rubber and you make it harder and solid so you can use it.
Yeah. I just like the word actually.
I think volcanic is a better image for this.
Yeah.
So you've got sax player, you've got the bass player and yourself, and you're doing some more monk tunes, Bempsche swing, and Hackensack. That's the one I have queued up here. We can listen to a couple seconds of this if you guys don't mind. And make the technology work here. Go back to the beginning, almost the beginning. Did I set it up right? There we go.
I can hear it fine.
You can hear it, and I can hear it. Okay, guys, I don't want you to spend too much time watching when you can go to the YouTube. So you recorded all of the conversations on video as well as audio, or just some of them?
No, that's also part of the concept that we just have a guy with 4 video cameras down for the whole sessions, and then we just
4 video cameras?
Yes, right.
Wow, it's a high-end production.
Yeah. It's kind of
4 cameras, live switching, and so that's great. So you're really documenting the whole process beginning to end.
Right.
Did you put some interviews on there too?
I did that with all the musicians, but I didn't have time to edit it so far because it's quite a demanding project. I mean,
yes, I like to record videos that I never have time to edit, so they sit on in the raw footage, and they never get put up.
What I mean, yeah.
It happens all the time. Let's see. Can you guys see this? I want to show everybody how many millions of tracks you have here. So on your Florian Arbenz YouTube channel, you have literally every track as a live video, and then there's a couple of interviews mixed in. So this is a very ambitious project,
it's a big
and
one,
it's a completely independent project, right? You don't have any major labels backing you or anybody kicking in any big bucks.
I was trying, but in the beginning of the pandemic situation, there was nobody willing or daring to have such a collaboration. What I have this guy, Matt Fripp. He's an English guy who helps me with promoting the project. So, for example, for this number 4, we got a 4.5-star review in the Downbeat magazine. So there is kind of a good output.
That's this one.
Yeah, that's this one, right?
And I think I saw one of my fellow YouTubers, Ken McAuliffe. I think he gave you a shout out on one of his videos.
Yeah, right. So we have kind of a good promotion, but it's all on me. Yeah.
Well, the other issue is distribution, and that's you have any distribution besides yourself, or you're selling all the records directly? And
no, I'm doing the Bandcamp channel, so that's how I sell the recordings. I restart with touring, so I take the recordings on the road, and I have a couple of connections to very nice independent record shops. So usually they take on like a couple of for the US, and a couple for Poland, and a couple for Italy, like this. I have a deal with a Japanese distribution, so yeah, it's kind of growing, but I think for me it's very important that I have my hands on this project. I don't want to sell it or just to give it away. So
you could get in bed with a major record label, and they will tell you to do something completely different that you didn't want to do in the first place. So
that's right.
I guess that's not a negative. If you're running your own show, you're in charge, and that's a big thing for musicians nowadays. Is
I think so. Yeah.
How badly do musicians need record labels today if they can produce, promote, sell on their own, and keep 100% instead of 2% of the proceeds?
That's right. Yeah, I see it the same way. I mean, it's some work to do, and you have to be ready to do the work, because if nobody does it, nobody can promote the project. But I think for me, it's a good way. Yeah,
I see you being sort of better at it than a lot of musicians that I've talked to. Who say, "Well, I don't want to do that." Okay, well, no one's heard of you. You're out there doing videos like these, getting the press kits out, and you've also got a concept that's very interesting and innovative.
Yeah, so I think for me, the musicians are very interesting people, of course, and I love musicians. But I think there's like this guy, the graphic designer, and these are really pros and cats too. So it's really nice to have connections which are outside this. It's eyes opening and horizon expanding kind of work, and I really like that.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for graphic designers to get hooked up with musicians and show off what they can do. And the visual thing you did with Greg Osby and the Schichter, I can't remember his name, the artist you used on the first.
Yeah, right. The painter, the Swiss painter.
I thought that was the fact that you are acknowledging visual art along with audio, and to me, the whole free jazz thing goes so well with very expressive painting and visual and experimental. I think you may have mentioned like Jackson Pollock in one of your interviews. To me, that whole emergence of jazz and visual arts are such a good contrast to the boring corporate media that I have to watch on TV and the radio every day.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
but it's also hard to get younger people, who don't know jazz, who don't know experimental media. Have you had any luck getting younger people? Like, do you work with, schools or education projects, or working with cultural groups?
Yes, I do that, and I really like it actually. Yes, I think the younger people, they have to discover their way and their styles, and some, of course, they are sometimes also in their community and not maybe looking over their community, but yeah, of course you have to reach them somehow, but it also can be very inspiring to hear their thoughts and their thinking about art or their way of life. So it's actually one of those things I really love about being a musician. I mean, now this new conversation which came out with Kirk Lightsey, he's 85, and he's
Oh my
really,
goodness.
he could
He's the
be my
piano player.
brother.
Is
And
this a segue to number 5 here or number 6?
this is number 6, number
Okay.
6 and 7. This is a double one
Okay.
again.
So Kurt is 85-year-old piano player, right? I watched some of that video. So
Yeah,
maybe we
right.
jump on number 5 real quick because I don't think I have or I've heard number 5.
I have it actually here. That's the E.
That would be the big E, the letter E.
This
There
is
it is.
I will send
Got
it
it.
to you.
I see the number E. Oh, if you want to, thank you.
Yes, of course.
I want you to meet a local record store owner here in Los Angeles who always has his shop full of jazz that I've never heard of. I just walked in
Okay.
there, so I gotta buy this. I never heard it, but the fact that it's in your store. So
Okay.
afterwards, I'll tell you who that guy
Yes,
is.
please
He
do
might
that.
be on my show in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, record store owners usually were not considered the way to distribute music. It was like the label tells you what's coming in the door and the distribution channel. And I love that some record stores can curate their own. So anyway, number 5, I got off track there, is who is on number 5, the letter E. Tell me more.
Number 5. It's the last videos which are on my channel. It's kind of special. It features Tineke Postma. Maybe you know her. She's a Dutch sax player, and she appeared a couple of times in the International Jazz Day with Wayne Shorter and with Herbie Hancock. And she's a protege of Terry Lynn Carrington. So they have Terry Lynn Carrington.
Yeah, I know her.
Female drummer.
Saying, do I have this lady right here, right?
Right, that's her. Yeah, right.
She played with Wayne Shorter, huh?
Yeah.
Like in his ensemble?
I think it was this International Jazz Day on 30th April. They always put on a big show, so I think that was an opportunity for her. Yeah, she's great. She's amazing. Yeah,
and she's from Europe, so Americans might not.
Yes, right.
Americans might not know her that well.
Yeah, she is one of the big European female sax players. So,
well, that's a very small group, probably.
Yeah.
European female sax. I'm trying to get this clip to show up correctly because I can't do two things at once. There we go. Full screen clip. Yeah, we have very few women in jazz. Unfortunately, you mentioned Terry Lynn Carrington. I think I saw her play with Wayne Shorter.
Yeah, she was in his group for a long time.
Oh boy! Now we're moving to the Brazilian.
No, he is Portuguese.
Portuguese. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he is amazing.
I listened to some of this one online today, and this is pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, João, he's a master musician. Yeah, he's from Lisbon.
Yeah. Lisbon, Peru.
No, in Portugal.
Portugal. Yeah, you see, right. Americans don't know anything about geography.
And he's amazing. Yeah, I really love his playing and his personality too. I mean,
there's very few accordion players in jazz.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's an instrument that I think lends itself to jazz in many ways because it's got the expressiveness of blowing like a horn, and it's got all the keys and keyboards, and yet outside of Astor Piazzolla, you don't see that much.
That's right. No, music. He is a real master. Yeah, really special.
Yeah, love his stuff. So this sound is coming through okay on your end?
Yes, I can hear it. Yeah.
So number 5 is basically a trio of these three, or is there more? Oh, there's 4 people because
we've
got the bass also.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's Rafael Yerian, an Australian bass player. Yeah, he's great too. Yeah.
And he had to come all the way from Australia.
No, actually, he's living in Switzerland now. So
he's living. That's good.
yeah,
it's a long way to go.
Much better.
Playing some very heavy duty chords there. Okay, I'll turn this off just because I don't want to. I've messed up this audio again. Okay. It's very hard for me to, because I have to have like 5 different screens going at the same time on one screen. I don't have a producer in the background who's doing the switching for me. Well, that's a really interesting combination. I don't think anyone has ever done accordion sax, etc., right?
That's for me one of the challenges of this project, or also like of the good things. I really can look out for new solutions or new things, which I knew Joao for 2 years maybe before, and when I heard him, it just blew my mind. So it's great just to check it out how it works, and up to now all these collaborations worked out fine, I must say.
I think that's what's missing from a lot of jazz that I see. I'm a little bit of critical, even though people are making great records. You must have a trio. You must have 2 horns. You must have bass drums. Okay. And there's so many more combinations and possibilities, especially for record. You might not want to tour with a banjo, drums, and a tuba, but to try it out once in the studio and see where it goes, and maybe it goes somewhere. So I give you a lot of credit for doing a lot of innovative stuff here.
That's great. Thank you.
Let's look at number 6 then, who we alluded to a minute ago. Kurt, see if I get his picture on screen while you tell us who he is.
This is a double one as well. So this is the thing.
His number, is he on the YouTube channel or not? He's too new, I think.
Not yet. It's on Facebook. I will put it on the YouTube. It just came out last Friday, so I will put it in next week.
I wanted to show a clip, but the clips and the pictures are on your website and on Bandcamp.
Now look at that. We still have the thing for the red. Now it's.
So we are on the letter R.
R, right. That's R, right.
Okay, so let's see the cover also. I don't think I got to see it. Maybe I wasn't looking. The cover of the graphics.
Oh, yes.
I didn't get to see. Okay, the R is a graphic.
The S.
You got 2 letters in here.
Yeah,
R
right.
Very conceptual, free interpretation of those letters. And if you didn't know about the rest of them, like I didn't.
Right.
I had no idea they were the letters. So, number 5 and 6, are they the same personnel or slightly different?
This again, the number 6, I play in duo with Kirk Lightsey. And I know Kirk since a lot, maybe since 35 years, maybe. So he was one of my really father figures in my musical development, and he is a really important person and musician in my whole career and my whole life. And
was he primarily jazz and not classical also?
No, he comes from like the Dexter Gordon. He played a lot with Dexter, Chet Baker. So that's where he comes from. He played a lot with and he was a good connection with the art ensemble of Chicago. So he had with Famadou Damoye, he had the long trio. But he's now 85 years old and never played a duo. So that was the reason to do this number.
Hard to believe. Wow. Yeah. So you got
his
first duo.
He played piano and bass, of course, but not piano and drums. So that's the first edition or the first try. And I'm really happy about it because he's such a charismatic musician. And so this is the number 6, and number 7 we play in quartet. Which is maybe the most traditional kind of recording in the whole series.
Quartet with additional
saxophone and piano and drums. But the music is still a little special, I guess, or a little different. So I'm quite happy.
I think I watched some clip somewhere today. I saw it.
It's my history. I love jazz music. So when I do like 12 albums, I thought I can dedicate one to kind of the real jazz music, or to the tradition, or to the history.
So that one is more traditional than some of the others.
I think so. Yeah.
The respect that has more standards on it, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean Kirk Lightsey, he is a piece of history himself, of jazz history. So it's impossible to do it without his personality when you play with him. It's just he is the history, kind of. So
he's one of those guys that people like Dexter would come over and they need to pick up musicians in Europe. And
no, he's from Detroit, actually.
He's from Detroit. Oh, why do I think Europe? Because the name.
Yeah, no, he was in Detroit and he lived in New York for a long time. So he's really kind of.
So he is
cat, and he
more of
grew
an
up,
American.
Yeah. He grew up with Joe Henderson and Yusuf Lateef, and they had this whole connection. And he was part of the Motown collective, and then he moved to New York. And no, he played with everybody. I mean,
I've got to look him up because I keep learning about new musicians who are not new at all, and
no, he is definitely not new.
Some of them is new to me.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe I have him playing on a bunch of records that I don't.
You should have, I'm sure.
I don't know.
If you have,
here's a Joe Henderson. Let's see. Is he playing this one?
Yeah, or maybe
Joe Henderson. No, but that's okay. I got a million Joe Henderson records.
Yeah, there is a whole series with Chet Baker from the 60s. There. So there's he's really a piece of jazz history. Yeah, Freddie Hubbard and this kind of guys. Yeah, so
I definitely will have to look him up. And I'm sorry, I keep learning about people. There's so many people out there. Yeah.
Right.
I don't even want to tell you about like the last year I started getting to Albert Ayler. I didn't know him 2 years ago. Just like you can go deep into these new people, and he played with this guy, and he played with that guy, and the drummer. Drummer. Now I know. On and on and on.
Story.
That's why I'm going to keep having too many records.
Yeah. Right.
So we're just at the halfway point through the series. How long is this thing going to take you? It's like 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, I think in total it will be 3 years, because I will release now in November the number 8, and then next March, April, maybe number 9, and then again a double album in summer, like 10, 11, and then next November 23 I will release the 12th, and then.
So do you have all this planned out? You know who's going to be on them already? You've already invited them, and it's ready. So it's a secret. We're not going to ask for secrets. Right. Are you ending on a big ending? Maybe so. You'll let us know.
Let's see.
A surprise.
Yeah, right.
But that's great. So you've got the next year planned out of your recording sessions and releases. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm happy.
So let's change the subject. I'm really fascinated by Switzerland, and maybe I get to visit someday. But Americans know very little about Switzerland. Americans know a little bit about France and England, but unless you're a skier, maybe you don't ever go to Switzerland. But it's such a center of so many things: cultural, art, music. We think about it as money, chocolate, clocks. That's
right.
Cliche. But you've lived your whole life in Switzerland for the most part?
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, Switzerland is so small. It's incredible. I mean, like it's 400 kilometers from north to south, and I don't know, maybe 500 from east to west. So it's really, really small. 400,
and cut that in half for miles. So it's like 200 or 300 miles each way.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically 4 hours with a car from north to south and 5 hours from east to west, more or less. That's it. Yeah, it's really small.
So just by coincidence, I'm going to ask you a question that's completely crazy. You have a last name that shares with a famous person in history.
Yeah, right. You mean the
South America,
the Guatemala guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No relation, no story there.
Actually a relation. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He was I think a cousin of my grandfather, maybe, or something.
Wow.
But my family, they didn't talk about it because it was maybe a little bit crazy for them. I don't know.
Very controversial, but so for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Giacomo Arbenz was a president of Guatemala.
That's right. Yeah.
Even though he's Guatemalan, his parents were from Switzerland.
Right.
And he was one of these presidents of South Central American country that the United States went and overthrew his government and said,
right,
we're kicking you out because we're going to steal all your bananas. And he was exiled. So he wasn't killed in a horrible, but it's the second time I ever heard that name. I thought, oh my God, this is the same name. Well, Guatemala has nothing to do with it. And it's like, wait,
I played quite a bunch in South America, but I never played in Guatemala. So I don't know, maybe once I should do a tour there and check out the reaction on my name.
Yeah, that could be good. It could be good PR for you, because I think the people actually liked him.
You think so?
Well,
I have no idea.
Yeah, he was democratically elected. The United States said,
so, yeah.
If you don't give us their banana plantation, we're going to get rid of you. And that's why they brought in the next guy. So Americans don't know this history of how we screwed up all these countries in South America and Africa and the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Not really musical, but my learning about Switzerland and South America and history, it's a very complicated world in many ways. But then, you can just listen to music and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So, Florian, I think that's we're kind of wrapping up here. We've got all 7 of your records, 1 through 7 conversations. Will end with the letter S in another year or so. And look forward to seeing those releases. And I'm going to post some things online so folks can check out your YouTube channel stuff.
Perfect.
So I think we're going to wrap it up. All right?
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you. Enjoy these records quite a bit.